Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture series of Computer Organization and Advanced Microprocessors. This is our 16th lecture, and in this lecture we are going to learn about the multiplexer and demultiplexer. So let's start. Okay, before we start with the multiplexing and demultiplexing in detail, first let's understand the difference between some terminology like encoding and decoding. We know what is the meaning of encoding and decoding. Encoding means converting message to numbers and decoding means converting numbers to message. So in short, encoding and decoding processes are related with the data conversion or the data type conversion. While multiplexing and demultiplexing are are terms which are related with the traveling of the signals, that how data will travel from one location to the another location. So sometimes it might be possible that students get confused between these four terms. So make it clear that all the terms are completely different: encoding, decoding related with the data type conversion, and multiplex and demultiplex related with the traveling of the signals. Okay, now let's understand the terms multiplexing and demultiplexing. So as you can see in the image that here we have source and destination, and source is sending the data through Yahoo, Gmail and Outlook, and also you can see at the destination side we have Yahoo, Gmail and Outlook. So what is happening over here? Here source is sending the data from three different applications. See, suppose we are sending the data through different applications, for example 10 different applications. It does not mean that it should have 10 different cables, 10 different buses or 10 different channels, right? We have only one channel, and through the one channel we need to send all the different data of all the different applications, right? So means what we are doing, we are wrapping up the data in a one packet, right, or in a different packets. So now the question is how the computer or a system will, or a communication channel will come to know that this data is belonging from the so and so application, and for that we need the header in each data packet, and those packets travel through the communication channel and reaches to the destination. Now in a demultiplexing process, all the data packets will be unwrapped and will be sent to the particular application through the through the demultiplexing process. So this is how actually multiplexing and demultiplexing processes work. So now let's see the actual definition of the multiplexing. So the multiplexing is nothing but the gathering data from multiple applications processes of sender and enveloping them, means all the data, with header and sending them as a whole to the intended receiver. This process is called the multiplexing, and demultiplexing means delivering received segments at receiver side to the correct app layer. Process is called as demultiplexing. So it's very easy concept of multiplexing and demultiplexing. Multiplexing means many to one, and demultiplexing means one to many. So now the question is, who will perform these operations, or who will perform these two processes, multiplexing and demultiplexing? For that we have a multiplexer and demultiplexer, and that we will learn in the next slide. Okay, now we know what is the process of multiplexing and demultiplexing. Now it's time to know about the multiplexer and demultiplexer. So what happens in the large scale digital systems, a single line is required to carry on two or more digital signals, right? And of course, at a time, one signal can be placed on the one line. But what is required is a device that will allow us to select and the signal we wish to place on a common line, such as a circuit, right? And this is referred as a multiplexer. So the main function of a multiplexer is to select the input of any n input lines and feed that to one output line. And the function of the demultiplexer is to inverse the function of the multiplexer and the shortcut forms of the multiplexer. So we can say that the demultiplexer are mux and the demux, sometimes it refers, and some multiplexers perform both multiplexing and demultiplexing operations. So the main function of the multiplexer is that it combines input signals, allows data compression, and shares a single transmission channel. So this is the basic function of the multiplexer. So as you can see in the image, we have a multiplexer and demultiplexer. Multiplexer is having different 4 inputs, and it is allowing all the 4 inputs, and with the switches, there's S0, S1, S2, S3, all are the switches, and all together travel through the YI line, that is Y and I becomes the input for the demultiplexer. Again we have 4 different switches, and based on the input will have a output like y0, y1, y2 and y3. So this is just a basic idea about the multiplexer and demultiplexer. Now let's learn about the little bit in detail about the multiplexer and demultiplexer. Okay, now let's understand the multiplexing little bit in detail. So what is multiplexing? So in telecommunications and computer networks, multiplexing, sometimes we call it muxing, is a method by which multiple analog or digital signals are combined into one signal over a shared medium. Now we know this, right? Because we have already seen the example of the Yahoo and Outlook in the previous slide, that how multiplexer combine all the signals together, wrap all the data, and all the data packets travel through a single communication channel and reaches to the destination, right? So these data packets are nothing but in the form of the signals, and all share the same medium or a single medium. So this is the normal idea about the multiplexing. Now the multiplexed signals is transmitted over a communication channel such as a cable. We know that communication channel can be anything. Now we have a Wi-Fi, so that channel can be a wired or the wireless. It can be also, we can also call it a bus, we know, right? So this is about the communication channel, and the multiplexing divides the capacity of the communication channel into several logical channels, one for each message, signal or data stream to be transferred. This point we need to understand in brief, little bit detail. So see, first, that what it is doing, the multiplexing divides, it divides something. What it divides? It divides the capacity. Whose capacity? Capacity of the communication channel. See, suppose I have a communication channel with the capacity of the 10 MB data, means I cannot pass the data more than the 10 MB, right? And if I am sending the signals with the limited load, in that case I need to divide that channel, because because we are sending multiple types of signals. Sometimes I am sending the message of the Yahoo, then also I am using the Outlook, also I am using the YouTube, WhatsApp, Insta, so many different applications I am using, and all the different applications have a different types of data, but I have only one communication channel. So how can I divide this communication, single communication channel, in certain logical channels to pass the different data? So let's take one example over here. Let's say that I have this communication channel. Let's say this is my communication channel. Now suppose I am sending suppose I am using the single application right now, then okay, fine, my data can travel through this. I'll input here from this endpoint, and it will reach to the destination from this point. Okay, fine. But suppose I want to use, I want to pass the data of 3 different applications. In that case, what I'll do, or what my multiplexing process will do, that it will divide this channel into logical channels. So now I have three different parts, right? So this is called the capacity, divides the capacity, because suppose it has a capacity to divide maximum into 10 different sections. In that case I cannot divide it into 11 sections, right? So that's why normally we choose the maximum bandwidth for the communication channel, so we can pass the data. Also we learn that what if I want to send the data more than the capacity, that will come in the later on sections. But of course it never restrict us to send the data. It might be possible the delay in the travel, but it will never say that no, you cannot send the data. So this is how multiplexing works. Because I have a single channel, I am dividing that channel into multiple logical channels this way, and one for each. See this, one for each message. So as I told you that suppose I am sending, or I am yes, I am sending the data of, let's say, Yahoo I have, then I have okay, Yahoo I have, then I have Insta, and then I have YouTube. So here I have three different channels for three different types of signals, and all are traveling through a single communication channel, right? This yellow is my communication channel, and I am passing all the all the data through the single communication channel. So also I can say that all the three applications are sharing a single medium, right? So this is the concept of the logical division of the communication channel. This you will learn in more detail. There are many multiplexing techniques, like frequency multiplexing is there, code multiplexing is there, time multiplexing is there, and all will be everything you will learn in the DCN, that is the data communication and networking subject. And our last point is about the example. See, when we call to someone, so it might be possible that there is a single call, but we are using the multiple lines, right? But ultimately we are using a single wire. Here we are talking about our landline calls. See, so what happens, we have only single cable, but on a single cable it might be possible that we get a several phone calls. So it does not mean that suppose I want to make a call to my friend, one friend and the other friend, so for that I don't need to have two different wires, right? What I am doing, at one time one communication is possible, and at the other time another communication is possible. It was all about the earlier landline calls, but now we have the Wi-Fi signals, and we make a call, we make a conference calls as well. We can call in a group. So ultimately we have a single communication channel. What ultimately we are doing, we have just divided that communication channel into several logical channels. So it is possible to make a call to multiple people, or it is possible to make a conference call, or it to possible make a group call. So it is about the multiplexing technique. Okay, now let's see the block diagram and truth table for the multiplexer. So here we have a block diagram image where you can see, say this, here we have I0, I1, I2 and I3 inputs, and Y is my output. This is the 4 by 1 multiplexer, means 4 input 1 output, 4 input and 1 output. And along with the input and output, here we have S1 and S0. What is this? S1 and S0 are nothing but the selection lines. What is the meaning of the selection line? So one of these four inputs, I0, 1, 2 and 3, one of these four inputs will be connected to the output based on the combination of inputs present at these two selection lines. Means the combination of S0 and S1 value will decide that what would be the output, or what input line should be the, what input line will select to make it the output. So this is about the block diagram, and from the block diagram we can draw the truth table. So here we have the truth table. So first we have the selection lines. Because we have two selection lines, that is S0 and S1. So because two values are there, so 2 raised to 2, so total 4 input lines, total 4 combinations we have. So based on the value of the selection lines, so multiplexer will decide that what would be the output. So for S1 S0 00 value we have I0, so my output would be 1 for the I0. Same for the I1, I2 and the I3. So basically we have to keep in mind that in each gate we have to pass S1, S2 and any one from all these inputs, any one line will be selected, and based on that we'll get the output. So this is about the truth table, and from the truth table we can easily derive the Boolean expression. We have already learned that how to derive the Boolean expression. If you don't know, then go and watch the previous videos that how to derive the Boolean expression. Okay, now let's see that how selection line works. So this is the simple example of selection line working method. Here you can see that we have 4 inputs A, B, C, D, and A and small b we have input line selection lines. So generally the selection of each input line in a multiplexer is controlled by this selection line. These are the additional set of inputs. We also call them control lines, and according to the binary condition of this control inputs, either it can be a high or the low, and high means 1 and low means 0. So either high or low, the appropriate data input uh, is connected directly to the output, and normally a multiplexer has an even number of 2 and data input lines, right, and the number of control inputs that correspond with the number of data inputs. So this is how selection line works. As you can see in the image that we have selection lines values 0 0. In that case my A becomes A selected and it becomes the output. For the 0 1, B has been selected and it becomes the output. For 1 0, C selected, and for the 1 1, D selected. So this is a simple working method of the selection lines. Okay, now let's draw the logic circuit. We have already derived the Boolean expression for the multiplexer, and from this Boolean expression we will draw the logic circuits. So we already know, right, that how to draw the logic circuit, but let's take another chance to see. See, here we have S1 and S0 in each section, right, and along with that we have I0, I1, I2 and I3. Means it is fixed that total we have how many total inputs we need. We have S1 we have, S0 we have, and then we have I1, sorry, I0, I1, I2 and I3. And this I0, I1, I2 and I3 are individual inputs for individual blocks. So this is done, that S0 and S1 will become my main input, that is selection line, and I0, I1, I2 and I3 will become the individual inputs. Okay, next we have, and all these three have AND operation, right? All have AND operation, and all these three total 4 sections we have, and all 4 have plus sign. Say this, we have plus sign, right? This, so means also we need one OR gate. So basically we need total 4 AND gates and one OR gate. So let's see how to draw the logic circuit. Okay, so here we have the logic circuit for multiplexer. You can see two input lines along with their invert gates, that is NOT gate, and for each block we have AND gate, and all this inputs becomes the all these lines becomes the input for individual gates, and whatever the output we get for each and every gate becomes the input. Why we require this OR gate? Because only from all these four input lines only one can be the output at a time, and so we need OR gate. Okay, so this is about how to draw the logic circuit of multiplexer. Okay, so after the multiplexer, now let's learn about the demultiplexer. As the name suggests, that demultiplexer is a opposite of the demultiplexer. So what is the demultiplexer? The demultiplexer is a combinational circuit that performs the reverse operation of multiplexer, right? Because we know that multiplexer takes 2 raised to n inputs, and an output we get the single output, right? But in a demultiplexer, here we have single input. See this. Here we have the single input and n selection lines. It can be any, like 2, 4, any selection lines, and based on the selection lines we decide the total number of outputs. So just like the multiplexer, the reverse process will takes place in the demultiplexer. So the input will be connected to one of these outputs based on the value of the selection line. So first it will select the selection, check the values of the selection lines. Based on that, it will decide that what output line should be selected or activated. Then since there are n selection lines, there will be 2 raised to n possible combinations of 0 and 1. This is the universal truth for the computers, for the binary numbers, because if we have the n selection lines, then definitely it is going to be 2 raised to n possible combinations. So each combination can select only one output, right? Just like in the multiplexer, we had only one input selection from the given from all the given inputs. Here we have to select only one output. And demultiplexer is also called the demux. It's a short form. Sometimes you can hear the demux instead of the demultiplexer. So this is just a brief introduction about the demultiplexer. More we will see in the next slides. Okay, now we have the block diagram and truth table for the demultiplexer. As you can see in the image, in the diagram, we have the 1/4 demultiplexer where we have see this, where we have one single input. This input now comes from the multiplexer, right? Then we have two selection lines, and based on the value of the selection lines, the multiplexer will decide that which output will be activated. So the single input I will be connected to one of the four outputs, so that is Y3 to Y0, and based on the values of selection lines S1 and S0. It's very simple block diagram. Then we have the truth table for the demultiplexer. This is very similar to the multiplexer, because in the multiplexer we had to focus on the S1 selection lines and we select the input. Here we are focusing on S1 S0 only, but we are more focusing on that which output line will be activated or which input line will be connected with which output line. So based on the values of the selection lines, just like if we have the 0 0 for the selection lines, in that case my Y0 output will be the activated, or my input line will be connected with the Y0, and similar with the other output lines. So this is about the block diagram and truth table of the demultiplexer. Okay, now let's draw the logic circuit. We have already drawn the truth table, and now it's very easy to derive the Boolean function from the truth table, right? So because we have total 4 different outputs, so we have total 4 different functions, and each function or each output contains 3 different inputs. 2 are selection lines and 1 is the uh, single input. So from this Boolean expression, we can draw the logic circuit. As you can see in this logic diagram, here we have one input and two selection lines along with the inverted gates. So each and every output has its unique AND gate, right? These 3 inputs, and these 3 inputs are the input lines for the gate. And because we know that among all the outputs, only one output is possible, so this becomes my final output. So this is a simple logic circuit design for the demultiplexer. Okay guys, so it was all about the multiplexer and demultiplexer along with the techniques multiplexing, demultiplexing. We have also seen the block diagram, truth table. We have derived the Boolean expression from the truth table, and we have also drawn the logic circuit for the same. So it's all about the multiplexer and demultiplexer. Happy learning. Thank you.